Next, we have a family that knows firsthand the devastating effects of living with FASD.
FASD puts a huge strain on the whole family. Many times the search for services leads to dead ends and frustration. An individual with FASD will struggle his or her whole life.
As an adoptive mother, it's hard to have your daughter not invited to parties, sleepovers, or asked to be on sports teams. It's been hard for her to find friends. Even when she's trying her best, it's not the same.
FAS is a very bad thing to have. It will harm you, and not alone you, but your baby too. So if you are pregnant, please don't drink. If you do drink, please remember that the baby will come out wrong, and the baby will also have FAS.
You are viewing Module 3 of a 4-module series of webinars that discusses the alcohol screening and brief intervention process to decrease alcohol-exposed pregnancies. The objectives for Module 3 are to describe screening for alcohol use during pregnancy, describe what a brief intervention is and how to complete one, show examples of brief interventions through role-play scenarios, and describe the motivational interviewing process. Alcohol screening and brief intervention, or ASBI, is a public health-oriented clinical preventative service to improve aggregate health of a population, according to Dr. Higgins-Biddle. According to the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force guidelines published in September of 2012, health providers should screen all adults and pregnant women for risky drinking habits. Researchers found that with such interventions, at least 1 in every 10 risky drinkers can be brought down to what is considered a safe drinking level. It is estimated that about 1 in 3 Americans drink too much, and most of the misuse is known as risky or hazardous drinking, which doesn't involve physical dependence or diseases, but nonetheless has been linked to accidents and premature deaths. As you can see, the majority of Americans, or about 71%, do not have a problem with alcohol use. When screened, these individuals will screen negative, and it is up to clinicians to reinforce their positive behavior. Those individuals in yellow are about a quarter of our population and responsible for the majority of alcohol-related accidents and injuries. These individuals are not diagnosed with an addiction, although can be if their behavior continues to progress, but rather misusing alcohol either by volume or by frequency. Weekend binge drinkers fall into one of these categories, as do women who drink more than 1 drink a day or 7 per week, or 2 per day or 14 per week for men. All pregnant women who aren't otherwise diagnosed as addicted to alcohol fit into the harmful drinking category, as there is no known safe time or amount of alcohol to drink while pregnant. The 4% in red are those who are diagnosed as dependent on alcohol and who should be in treatment. The goal of screening and brief intervention is to keep those who fall into the green categories in those categories, provide education to those in yellow to hopefully move them into the green category, and identify those in yellow who may need help beyond a brief intervention so that they may receive help before they fall into the red category. Note that a brief intervention is not appropriate for the 4% in the red category, as they are more likely to need more intensive treatment. Screening is the first step in identifying those at risk. It can be accomplished in a variety of settings by a variety of health professionals and in a variety of ways. There are many ways to complete screenings, including oral, written, and electronic. Self-reported screening is quick, accurate, and inexpensive. There are over 25 years of research to provide evidence-based tools. Screening results determine the potential need for a brief intervention. Traditional prenatal screening questions only assess actual alcohol use. Questions about risk, though, are especially important in prenatal screening, as risk of use can be as problematic as actual use. Sometimes the risky situation that triggers the need to drink can trump her desire to not drink, so discussing these risks and ways to cope is crucial in helping her meet her goal. This is the screening tool currently in use in the Montgomery County WIC program and will be the one you will use when you integrate the alcohol screening and brief intervention project into your WIC clinic. The first question is to obtain information about a participant's alcohol use history, as previous frequency use may increase the risk of consumption during pregnancy. The second question asks about current consumption, and the third and fourth questions ask about binge drinking. Finally, the last question asks about tolerance to alcohol. Assessing tolerance gives insight into previous drinking habits, and the higher the tolerance for alcohol, the increased risk for use during pregnancy and possible addiction. It is important to note that in answering this question, an individual should consider any feeling that alcohol gives them as an effect, such as the warmth in their bellies, the relaxing of muscles, or anything that occurs within the first few sips. This question is not seeking how many drinks it takes to make someone drunk. The vast majority of individuals will feel an effect by the end of their first serving of alcohol. To score the screening tool, look for any answers that are highlighted in red. Responses in red will trigger a positive screen and the need for a brief intervention. Questions can be asked to clarify answers if there appears to be conflicting information, but caution must be used in how the questions are asked, and leading questions should be avoided. Positive answers to questions 2, 3, and 4 indicate current drinking while pregnant, so this participant would be identified as high risk, given a brief intervention, and scheduled back for a follow-up in 4 to 6 weeks per Ohio high-risk policy. Positive answers to questions 1 and 5 also trigger a brief intervention, not because they are actually drinking, but have a drinking history that suggests they are at risk to drink while pregnant. You will use your critical thinking skills when confronted with multiple positive answers to determine if you need to make a referral to a treatment facility. A brief intervention will not cure an addiction, although it can lead a person to identify their behavior as needing assistance. So what is a brief intervention, you ask? A brief intervention is a time-limited conversation between the at-risk drinker and the practitioner utilizing motivational interviewing techniques. Sometimes it can take only a few minutes, other times up to 15 minutes, depending on a participant's needs and motivation. According to motivationalinterviewing.org, it is a collaborative, person-centered form of guiding to elicit and strengthen motivation for change. Common elements of a brief intervention include consequences of prenatal alcohol consumption, the benefits of abstaining from alcohol, identification of a person's individual risky situations, ways for someone to cope with those risky situations, a definition of a standard drink, goal setting, ways to cut down if abstaining isn't her personal goal, and a confidence assessment. They are usually completed in this order. So how did all of this get started in WIC? The Public Health Foundation Enterprises Management Solutions Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children in Los Angeles, California, conducted an efficacy study on brief intervention as a technique to help low-income minority women achieve abstinence from alcohol during pregnancy. Their results showed that women in the brief intervention group were 5 times more likely to report abstinence after the intervention compared to women in the assessment-only group. And newborns whose mothers received brief interventions had higher birth weights and birth lengths, and fetal mortality rates were 3 times lower. This very low-cost approach to prevention and harm reduction was very successful in this mostly Hispanic population. To further determine the applicability of the model in other WIC populations, A funding request was sent out by the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, or SAMHSA, to replicate the screening and brief intervention in WIC clinics in 4 states. Montgomery County, Ohio, was awarded one of the 7 4-year subcontracts through Northrop Grumman. The project goals were to screen all pregnant women enrolling in the WIC program in Montgomery County, to provide a brief intervention to all women who screen positive, to provide follow-up to women receiving the brief intervention during her pregnancy, develop a process for referral to treatment services, and to incorporate the maternal alcohol history in the infant's pediatric file. The data was impressive. During the 4 years, over 11,000 screenings were completed, many women coming back a second or third pregnancy during the study. Of those screened, 546 were eligible for a brief intervention, or about 5%. Of those who qualified for a brief intervention, 95%, or about 519, agreed to have a brief intervention. Results showed that 35% of the women were drinking alcohol within 30 days of the screening, and most of which were first trimester enrollees, although a significant number of women were still drinking into their second and even third trimesters. 65% of women received a brief intervention based on their risk to drink, an important topic to discuss during pregnancy. As we have discussed, sometimes the risky situation that triggers the need to drink can trump her desire not to drink, so discussing these risks and ways to cope is crucial to helping her meet her goal. Although the data is still being analyzed, it appears there were no striking demographics in assessing who received a brief intervention. The model appears to be very applicable to all ethnicities and educational levels. The results were excellent. 97% of women abstained from further alcohol use after their initial brief intervention, and for those that did not meet their goal after one brief intervention, another brief intervention was given, and we found that 99% abstained after the 2 brief interventions. Motivational interviewing evolved from experience in the treatment of problem drinkers and first described by Dr. William Miller and later elaborated on by Miller and Dr. Rolnick, both clinical psychologists. According to Miller and Rolnick, motivational interviewing is a collaborative, person-centered form of guiding to elicit and strengthen motivation for change. Motivational interviewing isn't much different from the way you are counseling participants on a variety of topics every day. Frames began a counseling revolution in WIC in 1997. You should be able to find this material in the green binders, otherwise known as the Ohio Nutrition Education Plan. Motivational interviewing uses a guide toward change called FRAMES. The acronym stands for feedback, responsibility, advice, menu options, empathy, and self-efficacy. If you have been using your FRAME skills when counseling participants, you are already well versed in motivational interviewing. Another use of motivational interviewing techniques occurs when using the loving support materials. Asking open-ended questions and affirming beliefs builds rapport and educating the participant by meeting her where she is at and honor her motivation for change. If you have been using your loving support skills when counseling participants, you are already well versed in motivational interviewing. A cultural shift occurred in 2006 to improve communication skills of all WIC employees. Value-enhanced nutrition assessment is a communication technique that improves the relationship building between a participant and WIC personnel. It uses motivational interviewing techniques including building rapport, critical thinking skills, and cultural competency. VENA skills build on and complement the motivational interviewing process. Understanding the stages of change will help in assessing how confident and thereby successful a person will be when making a change, such as quitting drinking. When a person is in pre-contemplation, they are not considering a change and are not worried about the potential consequences of their actions. Participants in this stage are unlikely to accept advice to change, but may be open to learning about the risks associated with their behavior. In contemplation, Participants will show ambivalence about their alcohol use and are able to see some pros and cons to their behavior. A brief intervention can help a participant explore those feelings of ambivalence and move them toward the action stage if they begin to see the cons of drinking are outweighing the pros of quitting their drinking behavior. Moving into preparation, participants begin to feel they can commit to a change and they prepare for that change. Once someone moves into the action stage, their decision is made and the change occurs. It may be cutting down on their current drinking pattern, or it may be quitting. Although quitting is preferred for obvious reasons, some participants may only be able to see themselves cutting back at that moment. Brief interventions can help someone work through their goals and create a plan of action. Brief interventions also help a participant discover their coping mechanisms for risky situations. Participants enter the maintenance stage when their new behavior has been adopted and continues. Follow-up appointments and positive reinforcement help a participant either avoid relapse or handle a relapse and get back into the action stage. The stages of change model is both fluid and cyclical in nature. Motivational interviewing counseling behaviors include reflective listening, understanding the client's frame of reference, expressing acceptance and affirmation or empathy, reinforcement of a client's motivation, monitoring their readiness to change, not pushing or jumping ahead of the client, and affirming the client's freedom of choice and self-direction. Here is the screening tool that you will give to all pregnant participants at certification. It is helpful to have a copy of this sheet handy so a woman can assess how much alcohol she is consuming. It may be helpful to have it laminated and attached to the clipboard when paperwork is given. As we discussed, the health professional will score the screening tool to determine the need for a brief intervention. Now let's talk about the tool you will use when giving your participant a brief intervention. The WIC Project Care Health and Behavior Workbook was developed by Dr. O'Connor and Dr. Whaley, who initially tested it in Los Angeles, California WIC offices and is currently used in California WIC projects. After discussing her screening tool answers with a participant and seeing a need for a brief intervention, ask her if it is okay to share the workbook information with her. You can say, "This workbook will help you and I discuss your alcohol use." Page 1. Let her know the workbook will be hers to keep and she can write in it or refer to it as she needs to. Page 2. Describe the consequences of drinking during pregnancy. Note the sad baby picture. You could say the following: many women do not know that if they drink during pregnancy, their baby is exposed to alcohol too. Drinking when you are pregnant can harm your baby. Some babies whose mothers drank during pregnancy are born very small and have a hard time growing healthy and strong. Some babies have physical abnormalities that can affect their face or other parts of their bodies like their hearts. Some grow up to have trouble learning in school and may have developmental disabilities. Even if they don't have such serious problems, some babies are difficult to care for because they have trouble eating or sleeping. Some are very active when they are growing up and have trouble paying attention in school. Their language may be delayed and there may be problems with their hearing or vision. Are you familiar with any of these problems? This is a good way to assess her thoughts on what can happen to her baby. Page 3. Now you see the message with the happy baby picture that if she stops drinking, her baby will be healthier, therefore happier. You could say, "I know that you want the best for your baby and that you want your baby to grow up healthy and strong. If you stop drinking now, you can have a healthier baby. There is no known safe limit for drinking during pregnancy, so we always recommend stopping your drinking." Page 4. This is one of the most important pages in the workbook. Uncovering the personal risks a participant is faced with in trying to achieve her goal is crucial in setting a goal that she can be successful with. This is no different than uncovering a person's barriers to successful breastfeeding. You could say to the participant, "People drink for different reasons. Some people use alcohol to help them deal with stressful situations. Other people expect that it will make good times seem even better. Some feel more confident when they drink. Try to think about what causes you to drink alcohol. Circle the ones that apply to you. Can you give specific examples of when you felt like you wanted to drink? Allow the woman time to give specific examples and give her encouragement when she is able to clearly identify drinking triggers. Ask her, are there any other reasons that are not listed that might cause you to want to drink? If there are other reasons, write them down in your workbook and we can talk about them. Give her encouragement when she is able to identify specific drinking triggers. Page 5. Coping with her risky situations will help her meet her goal. She needs to have a plan that if the urge to drink or the pressure to fit in becomes overwhelming to her. You could say, people often think of good ways to resist the urge to drink. It is important to figure out how you can resist drinking in risky situations. Here are some of the ways that many people have found to be useful. Now let's list the ways that you could resist the urge to drink if it came up. Go ahead and circle ways in which you could cope with risky situations. Let her take time to circle coping strategies and discuss each one with her. Try to get her to be as specific as she can be. You could continue with, are there other situations and ways you could cope with using alcohol? Give her time to think about any other coping strategies to reduce her alcohol consumption. Page 6. Point to the pictures while exploring what a standard drink is. You could say, a 12-ounce can or bottle of regular or light beer has the same alcohol as a 12-ounce bottle of wine cooler, a 5-ounce glass of wine, and 1.5 ounces or a shot of hard liquor. If you drink fortified wine, such as sherry, in a 3-ounce glass, it is equal to a standard drink. The discussion about the amount of alcohol in a variety of containers is discussed on pages 7 and 8. You could say, have you seen these drinks that come in larger containers? Some drinks in larger containers are equal to more than one standard drink. For example, malt liquors have a higher alcohol content than regular beer and can be different for different brands. Page 8 talks about some other commonly consumed alcoholic beverages. These 2 pages can be very eye-opening for participants who have always assumed that all beverages are created equally. But, as you saw in the first module, depending on the serving size and recipe used to make a drink, the amount of standard drinks can vary widely. Page 9. Here is where we bring the conversation to the point where the participant will set a goal about her drinking that she is comfortable with to get her to her next WIC visit. Say something like, now thinking about how much alcohol you have told me you drink on any one occasion, and when you drink more than your usual amount, what goal would you like to set for yourself for the next month? A reasonable goal for pregnant women is abstinence or not drinking alcohol. However, some women find that total abstinence is difficult. What goal would you like to set for yourself? And then point out the 2 options to have her mark the box she has chosen. Ask her, on a scale of 1 to 5, rate how sure you are you can meet this goal you are setting. Point to options 1 to 5, allow her to circle the one she wants, and then repeat that option. For example, if she thinks she can stop her drinking and she circles option 4, then say, so you think you can probably stop your drinking? If she sets a goal and then only chooses number 1 or 2, it would be a good idea to help her rethink either her goal or her true readiness to change. As you know, the goal needs to be realistic. Think back to the 3rd module. Does the scale of 1 to 5 look familiar? This is her assessment of her readiness to change. Number 1 is pre-contemplation, number 2, contemplation, 3, preparation, 4, action, and of course, 5 is maintenance. Page 10. On this page, her goal becomes more concrete. If she has indicated that she will be abstinent, then say, that's a great goal. We will put zeros in all the boxes, indicating that you plan not to drink. This is like a contract or agreement we have. We will review your progress toward this goal at your next visit. If she has indicated that she wishes to cut down on her drinking and isn't ready to quit, then say, let's set a drinking goal. Let's look at what you think you will drink in the next month. Ask, what will be the maximum number of days you will drink per week, and have her give you an answer. Then ask, and what will be the maximum number of drinks per day you will drink, and have her give you an answer. Repeat the number of days and the number of drinks to her and say, is this the number of drinks you plan to consume per week in the next month? Do not indicate in any way your feelings about her decision to continue to drink. Sometimes, if a participant will look at the math and decide that the end number is higher than she thought once it's calculated out, she will opt to cut down further. Then confirm again. This is like a contract or agreement that we have. We will review your progress toward this goal at your next visit. In the meantime, if you feel you need help in stopping to drink, I can provide you referral for further assistance. Every participant who doesn't feel they can stop drinking while pregnant needs to be offered a referral to treatment. Page 11. You can skip this page if her goal is not to drink. If her confidence in quitting is low, or if she set a goal to cut down, highlight some of the suggestions on this page and have her select some that she thinks would work for her. Page 12. Conclude the brief intervention by summing everything up. You can say, we have covered a lot today. Changing one's behavior, especially drinking, can be hard. We know that you want the best for your baby and will try hard to honor the agreement we have made. Try to remember some of the things we have talked about over the next month. Refer to your workbook if you need a reminder. Remember that you are changing a habit and that can be hard work. It will get easier and we will work with you. Remember your drinking goal. If you resist the temptation to drink, congratulate yourself because you are breaking your old habit. At the end of each week, think about how many days you did not drink and congratulate yourself. Some people have days when they drink too much. If this happens to you, do not give up. Simply start the next day anew and renew your promise to yourself and your baby. Your follow-up visit is important. Please remember to come back for your next WIC appointment. I look forward to your success. I know you can do it. Good luck. Remember to make sure she takes the workbook home. To document the brief intervention on the nutrition care plan, write ASBI done in the assessment section. In the rare instance when a brief intervention will be refused, document ASBI refused instead. The first example shows a participant who screens positive for using alcohol during her pregnancy, qualified for Code 47, and needs to be scheduled back in for follow-up within 4 to 6 weeks. The second example shows how to document a brief intervention when the positive screen was a result of her drinking history. As you will see in the role-playing scenarios, each health professional spends a different amount of time on each part of the book and is going with the flow of the conversation and what is important to the participant. As clinics implement the alcohol screening and brief intervention project, you will receive a supply of these brief intervention workbooks as well as a guide workbook for you that provides the information just discussed here about how to review each page of the workbook with the participant. It helps to refresh your memory from time to time so that you are comfortable in discussing this difficult topic. To help you better visualize the brief intervention process, we have created 4 role-play scenarios depicting different interactions, rapport building, and outcomes, all based on actual participant encounters. The workbook that is shared with the participants in these vignettes is slightly different in appearance to the one that you will be implementing. However, the content is the same. The first role-playing scenario you will view shows a brief intervention that is given based on past habits that put her at risk to consume alcohol during her pregnancy, not actual use during her pregnancy. Her answers to questions 1 and/or 5 triggered the positive screen.
Kimi, we're coming almost towards the end of your WIC appointment. We've talked a lot about your eating habits and you've set some goals today for how you want to improve your eating while you're pregnant. And I wanted to cover a little bit, do you remember the sheet you filled out about whether you drank alcohol or not?
Yes.
Okay, well, I wanted to cover a little bit more on that. And I see on your first question here that before you became pregnant, you did drink alcohol 4 or more times a week. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And also I see that you haven't drunk alcohol at all since becoming pregnant. Is that okay? What's your thoughts on alcohol use during pregnancy? What would you say your plans are for that?
Well, I'm getting a little up in age, and I want to start a family, so I did research on drinking while pregnant.
Oh, great.
And so I decided to completely stop to start my family.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, what I have is a booklet. I don't know that you'll actually need this, but you may enjoy reading through it because it gives you some more information about some of the risk with alcohol use in pregnancy. And I'll give this to you. We'll go through a few pages of it just so you're a little more aware. And what I like to tell women is share the information. You already sound like you've made some good decisions. But some people do, as you may have found, have various viewpoints on whether alcohol is safe during pregnancy, and share the information with others.
Okay.
On the first page here, it says, if you drink, your unborn baby drinks too. And they give you some of the major problems, things like size of the baby being smaller and facial deformities, heart problems, and then some other things that you might not suspect were alcohol related, like if your child has eating problems or is hyperactive, memory problems, learning problems, and all of those things. I'm sure that's part of what you saw why you have chosen not to drink while you're pregnant. And it really, on this page, it really says it all. It says we don't really know of any safe level for alcohol use during pregnancy, so again, good decision on your part. Right here on this this risky situations page, there may be times, and maybe not, but maybe times it's some things that you'll go through. When is your baby due?
September.
September. There may be some functions or some get-togethers that you where alcohol is being served, and they give you some situations here where you may be more tempted. It says if you're feeling depressed or frustrated or nervous or angry, any of those things, would you be tempted to drink alcohol because of any of those things?
Not any of those, but I see you have celebrations here. I may
celebrations.
Want to, but I have alternatives.
You do? Well, right at the bottom of the page, it says, are there any other reasons why you drink? Anything else besides the special occasions?
No.
Okay, well, or the celebrations. And you say you have other alternatives. I think there's a page over here where we can list, it says list ways you could cope with risky situations without drinking alcohol. What's your ideas?
Well, one, I can take a bottle of sparkling water with me.
Okay, well, I'll jot that down.
And then I'm a gamer, so I like to play games. So I occupy my time.
Oh, okay. Yes, I guess that would occupy all of the above. There are some other tips. Maybe you won't need those again. They talk about grabbing a snack or telephone a friend or talking with a neighbor, going for a walk. It sounds like you found your own way. Jotted those down. Again, you'll get this book to take home.
Okay.
And this is one of the most interesting pages in the book to me. This talks about what a standard drink is. When people say they have a drink, sometimes based on what this tells us the standard drink is, they may be having more than one. A beer, standard beer, is about 12 ounces. A wine cooler, a 12-ounce serving is one serving. A 5-ounce glass of table wine is a serving, and 1.5 ounces of hard liquor, and 3 ounces of more of the stronger, the fortified wines. So a lot of beers, you sometimes you have to look to find the 12-ounce because maybe they may even come in larger servings. So when you say I have a beer, or you have a couple of beers, maybe it was 4 beers.
Right.
This page, there's more. These are really a lot higher alcohol level drinks. A 7.5 or 6% alcohol level drink. This one was a 22 ounce, and I believe that is a 32 ounce, was like drinking 3 cans of beer.
Wow.
So sometimes those, we might just be thinking it's a small amount when it's a larger.
Right.
But again, it sounds like you already have your goals set.
Right.
Again, some information you can pass on. And this last, I think we're almost to the last page in the booklet. It says decide on a drinking goal, and you kind of set that up right at the very beginning. It says, what would you like to do? Stop drinking or cut down?
So definitely stop drinking.
Stop drinking because you already had,
Yes.
right? And then down here is a little bit of a measure on how sure you are that you can accomplish that goal.
And
really sure? Or...
Number 5, I am sure.
Okay. I think, again, I'm hoping we're almost to the end here. It says, what will the maximum you'll drink during the next month? Maximum number of days you'll drink?
0.
0. Each, that's per week. And then number of drinks you'd have in a day?
0.
0, which equals 0. So that's... And there are some tips. These are the ones that doesn't sound like, if you do want to read through them, you can. If you can't stop drinking, some things that you could do that would reduce the amount of alcohol that you consumed. Any questions on the booklet?
No.
Okay, you can have it, and then we'll, in about 3 months, when you come back for your next WIC appointment, we'll follow up again and see how you're doing with everything. I'm confident you sound like you're sure too. But,
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank
you. Have
you.
the booklet.
Thank
Okay.
you.
What did you see? Did you notice that even though the woman has stated repeatedly that she doesn't plan to drink, she did acknowledge that family celebrations are a risky situation and she has a plan in place to cope? This mother planned her pregnancy and is equipped with a lot of knowledge to help her make good decisions. She was receptive to the information offered. The health professional moved at the participant's pace and made a good suggestion to share the information with others. Because this participant stated she has not drank any alcohol since becoming pregnant, she would not be given risk code 47 or alcohol use during pregnancy. And she wouldn't be brought back for a high-risk appointment based on this piece of her assessment. If no other high-risk criteria was met with the rest of her information, she would be scheduled for a 3-month mid-certification where the health professional can touch base about her progress toward her goal to continue to abstain from alcohol. This brief intervention took about 6 minutes to complete. The next scenario takes the health professional only about 4 minutes to complete. This participant, who is very early in her pregnancy, acknowledged drinking some alcohol within the last 30 days when she didn't realize she was pregnant.
Okay, Ermelise, we've gone through all of your nutrition information. We're going to go through the health history that you filled out for the alcohol. And I just need to clarify a few questions with you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
It looks as though you might have drank at some time during your pregnancy.
Yeah, it was just in the beginning. My husband came from Afghanistan. He's in the military. And we had like a festivity for him just because he came back. And I just have a glass of wine.
Okay. And that was within the last 30 days, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Because of our policies here, I need to give you some information. You're aware that you shouldn't be drinking through your pregnancy.
Yeah, don't worry about that. I'm not going to.
Wonderful. So I'm just going to go through this book. It'll give you some information. On this page here, you're going to notice that this baby's a little unhappy. It's because when mom continues to drink throughout their pregnancy, there can be actual medical issues that happen. For instance, they can have a be small in size. There can be a deformed face. There could be heart, mental problems. Sometimes issues don't happen till later on. You can have hypertension, they can have memory, learning, hearing disabilities. This page here is your baby now because you know that you're not supposed to drink throughout your pregnancy. All right. In this page here, we're going to go over this. These are risky situations. I kind of want you to look at this to see if from here to the rest of your pregnancy, if you would have any of these things. You might feel, when you're with somebody, you might feel this. There are times, or because of people you're with. Do you find that any of those might entice you to drink
I just think that I will drink like at parties, like special occasions.
Okay.
But I know that it's not good for my baby, so I'm not going to.
Good, very good. So if you happen to be at a party and someone was to entice you with a drink, this page here would go over some coping skills. So there might be something off this list that you might want to do instead of that.
Okay.
This page here is an informational page. It kind of goes over how much percentage of alcohol would be in each thing that you'd want to drink. So you can kind of view that just for your information. This page here is going to go over, some people will tell us, I had a Colt 45, I had 2 Colt 45s. So they think they only had 2 drinks when in effect they had the equivalent of 8 drinks. Now this page over here sets our goals. In your goal today, it sounded like we're not going to be drinking.
Yes.
Down here, how likely are you to keep that promise?
I am sure I can.
You're sure you can. Excellent. And we know from this page the goal we set is we're not going to drink throughout the rest of the pregnancy. This page here would be, it pertains to a mom who might be drinking quite a bit and may not be able to completely stop, but she can cut down. So this is why this is included in this book. This is a summary of everything we've gone over today, but I'm very happy that you've decided that not drinking is the way to go for this pregnancy. You'll end up with a nice, healthy baby.
That's what I'm looking for. Now I have a question.
Sure.
My doctor said that when I get to my 3rd trimester, I can have a glass of wine every day.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about that?
Well, we don't really know all of the ramifications that come from alcohol. It's just best if you abstain. It would be better to have that drink after the baby came. You know, we want to make sure we have a nice, healthy baby.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming today.
What do you think? The health professional goes through the workbook fairly quickly as the participant is confident in her ability to abstain from further drinking. She, too, is knowledgeable about the risks of prenatal alcohol exposure. She set her goal to abstain and reported she is very confident that she can achieve this goal. Because she consumed alcohol while pregnant, even though she didn't know it at the time, this participant qualifies for Code 47. She will be identified as high risk per the Ohio High Risk Policy, and she will be scheduled for a follow-up appointment within 4 to 6 weeks. The health professional should touch base and remind the participant about the workbook and ask about her goal during the follow-up. If the participant reports that she has drank any alcohol since the last visit, a second brief intervention would be given and another high-risk appointment set for 4 to 6 weeks later. The next scenario you will view is thankfully not a common scenario, although it does happen. The young, pregnant participant is already in her 2nd trimester and isn't really connecting that her actions can affect her developing fetus.
Well, Samantha, we've already covered your nutrition assessment, and now I'd like to just review some information that you provided on the health history. And I see where it takes about 4 drinks to feel the effects of alcohol. Yeah. And at 1 drink, describe to me how you feel.
I feel nothing after
Okay.
1 drink. I drink 1 and then I drink another. Usually I feel at about 3, but then I feel after 4 for sure. But
okay.
Yeah, I don't feel anything after 1.
All right. Well, what I'd like to do is review this workbook,
Okay.
and the purpose of the workbook is to describe, the effects of alcohol on your unborn baby.
Okay.
And this workbook is yours to keep. The questions, there are some questions in the workbook that I'd like to review with you, and you can feel free to stop and write any answers as you like.
Okay.
Okay, is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay. All right. So remember that if you drink, then your unborn baby drinks as well. And so drinking when you're pregnant can harm your unborn baby.
Then why do so many people do it?
Well, I think sometimes that they may not be aware of the dangers of drinking during pregnancy.
And why do doctors say it's okay for doctors?
Well, I think sometimes, some of the older doctors may say that, but some of the studies that are going on now are proving that it's not really safe to drink during pregnancy. And I'd like to share some information with you, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so drinking during pregnancy can cause the following problems. Your baby can be born small in size, can have facial deformities, heart problems, as well as mental retardation. They can also have difficulty sleeping and eating, as well as hyperactivity. and attention deficit disorders. They can have language development, memory problems, learning, hearing, and vision problems.
All that.
Yes, that can
all
occur.
That. It's not like an exaggeration, like all that's going to happen to my baby.
Those are some of the potential things, some of the risk factors that can happen to your baby that you need to be aware of.
Okay.
And there's a higher risk when you drink.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do is maybe go over the fact that you can have a healthier baby if you quit drinking.
Like right now?
Right. And there's really no safe level of drinking.
So nothing?
Right.
Nothing, not even one glass of wine?
Correct. Usually what's recommended is not 1 drop of alcohol during pregnancy.
The whole 9 months?
Correct.
Interesting. Okay.
Correct. Okay. And some of the situations, let's kind of review. Why do you feel that there are some situations that you might be more prone to drink than others?
Like when?
Yes.
The weekends. Obviously, I still hang out with my friends, go out with everybody. After work, dinner time, friends and family. If I'm bored, like lonely, just have nothing to do.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, those are quite a few reasons. So what I'd like to review are some ways to cope with those situations. You know, like maybe when you're bored, you can call a friend or maybe go for a walk. Also, would you say that the friends that you have, do they also drink with you?
Yeah, yes. Like my friends are the reason why I do go out and drink, and I'm the first one of the group to be pregnant, so I don't really want to let them down, and I don't really think they want me to stop.
Right. But, you know, I think it's important to maybe get them involved and let them know that, you know, you are concerned for the health of your baby and ask for their support.
I mean, I could try, but I don't really see anything changing.
Yes. Do you have any friends that don't drink?
No, not really.
Okay.
I'm kind of always like the life of the party, so it works out pretty well. My mom doesn't drink, though.
Okay. All right. So try to, you know, take some of these tips as far as, you know, telling yourself that the drinking will not improve the situation, and maybe try to drink some non-alcoholic things such as water or soda, juice when you're out with your friends.
So you want me to drink something else that's high in calories instead of drinking alcohol?
Okay. Well, actually, alcohol is also high in calories, but there may be some ways to kind of, you know, decrease the calories. If you're going to have juice, maybe mix it with a little sparkling water.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So can you list any ways that you can cope with risky situations without drinking alcohol?
I mean, I probably could go on a walk.
Okay.
I could probably do that, but then I just, you know, I think when I get back from the walk, then I'm going to still want to have another drink.
Okay. And that's when you would probably want to call a friend or, you know, get involved in, you know, another activity that doesn't involve drinking.
Okay.
Okay. And let's move on to basically, these are some examples of one standard drink. So I heard that you were drinking the wine.
Yeah.
5 ounces of table wine contains about 12% alcohol.
5 ounces.
Were you aware? Yes.
No, 5 ounces is like nothing to me.
Okay. How many do you usually drink?
I don't know how big my glass is. I don't know. I just pour. I mean,
just
I say at least half my glass, if not 2/3 of it.
Okay. All right. So I want you to, you know, when you get home, you can have a
So I'm
chance
supposed to measure 5 ounces.
Right. I want you to measure 5 ounces.
Okay.
Measure out your alcohol. You never want to pour it directly from the bottle into your glass. You want to measure it to make sure.
So if I do like 2 glasses of whatever I'm pouring now, I can do 2 ounces of the 5, or 2 glasses of the 5 ounces instead, and it'll be better for me?
Well, we want to talk about maybe setting some goals for that. So let's kind of move on. Also with beer.
Yeah, I love beer.
You like beer?
Yes.
So 3 cans of beer contains about 7.5 to 6% alcohol.
Well, that's typically what I drink, so then yeah.
Okay, so you know, think about that.
But that's less than the wine, so that's probably better.
Well, not necessarily, because they both can harm your baby because they both contain alcohol.
Okay.
So let's try to set a goal.
Okay.
Do you think that maybe, you know, it sounds like you're not going to be able to cut down drinking? Do you actually think that you could stop during your pregnancy?
No, I don't think I really want to. I mean, I understand that there's harms there, but so many other people do it. I don't understand why I have to be the one to stop when other people don't.
Okay. Well, I think it's the fact that, you know, you are carrying a baby,
right,
and you want to make sure that your baby is born healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and of course that is a concern to you.
Yeah, no, it is a concern. Yeah, I mean, I can cut back, but I'm not I don't think I'd stop. No.
Okay. So at this point in time, how much would you be willing to cut down?
Like per month,
Yes.
I could probably cut down to like 2 occasions a month.
Okay. All right. So we can set maybe a goal to cut down to 2 times in the next 30 days. If
Okay.
you can do less, even better.
Okay.
So right now, the maximum number of drinks you'll have by the next time I talk to you, which will be 30 days, should be no more than 2 drinks, less if possible.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And some ways to cut down on drinking is by, as I said before, trying to do something like juice or sparkling water.
Yeah.
Maybe sip your drink slowly. Measure your drinks instead of pouring.
Sure.
Yeah. So also add a lot of water to it, and that can help stretch it a little longer.
I'd like add water to my alcohol?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So even wine, you can add a little sparkling water to that.
Okay. Yeah.
Eat food when you drink. Okay. And then also, you don't want to drink directly from the bottle.
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
that something that you think you could do?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So we've covered a lot today,
Yes.
and, and I appreciate your input. And I want to remember to tell you that we set goals to cut down on your drinking. Also, tell your friends about your goal and ask for their support as well. And, people, who, love you, they know that, you want to have a healthy baby, and ask for their help. Also, reread this book, and that can help give you some pointers as well.
Okay.
And think about the reasons why you are cutting back on your drinking, and it's for the promotion of the health of your baby. And, when you want to drink, kind of, review the reasons why, it probably would not be a good idea, and maybe try to find another activity. And then also your health care visits are important. So we're going to meet again in 30 days to see how things are going.
Okay.
And in the meantime, if you feel like you need help, I can refer you to an agency that could help you.
I don't need to do that.
Okay. You feel like you can handle
no,
it?
I don't need to go to someone. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to see you in 30 days, and then we'll see how everything is going.
Okay.
And thank you for coming in.
You're welcome.
And we've got your coupons, and we'll get you printed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you think the health professional was able to develop a strong rapport? Was this participant listening to the health professional, or was she just hearing the information? This participant is clearly in the pre-contemplation stage. She hasn't identified her behavior as being a problem for herself or her baby at this point. The health professional took her time and emphasized many points throughout the book in an attempt to see if any of the information would help the participant choose to move to the contemplation or the preparation stage. The participant acknowledged that her actions were often the result of pleasing others, and she didn't feel she was in control of her choices. She doesn't see her behavior as a problem and doesn't think she is capable of making much change. It was clear to the health professional that although we want every participant to choose to abstain from alcohol during pregnancy, some participants are not willing to commit to abstaining, and cutting down was all this participant could feel able to achieve. The health professional remained calm and non-judgmental and presented the not a single drop message often. It was clear to the health professional that a referral to treatment was necessary, although the participant did not see herself as being addicted. This participant qualifies for Code 47 and is high risk according to Ohio WIC policy. She will need a follow-up appointment to assess her progress toward cutting down her use and another discussion to cut down further, or possibly move to either abstaining or accepting that her behavior is indicative of a need to be referred to treatment. She may also be open to a referral being sent to her prenatal care provider so that they are aware of her need for education and follow-up in partnership with WIC. This brief intervention took about 10 minutes to complete, which isn't a surprise given the complexity of the participants' issues. As you watch this scenario, get a feel for the differences in rapport building and acceptance of offered information.
Keeson, we've talked a lot about nutrition today, and some of the other concerns I wanted to discuss with you were based on alcohol information that you filled out on the health history today.
Okay.
Can you tell me a little bit about your current alcohol use?
Well, I try not to drink because I'm working at the bar as a bartender.
Okay.
So our store policy was I have to drink when customers offer me alcohol.
Okay.
But I find out that I'm pregnant, so I told my owner. So she said that if I'm not comfortable to drink alcohol, then she said I don't have to accept that offer alcohol. But it's kind of hard to keep refuse.
So do you feel like you have support from your boss at
From
work
my
to
owner,
stop drinking?
Yeah, but some customers understand.
Okay.
But some customers, it's guy most of the time, so they don't understand. I cannot drink alcohol, you know.
Those men, I tell you what.
I know.
So you think you're having a drink at least 4 times a week? Less than that? More than that?
Before,
Based on,
actually
okay.
every day though.
Every day you're
Right.
having at least
Right.
one drink.
Right.
Okay.
More than one though.
More than one drink.
Mhm.
And the information we have based on your due date is that you're right about 14 weeks right now.
Mhm.
And you just found out about a month ago that you're pregnant.
Yes.
Okay,
So I didn't know I was pregnant, so, you know.
So once you found out that you were pregnant, have you cut back on your drinking at all?
I did, but I still have to drink, you know, here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Based on what you said with the
Right.
customers. Okay, so I have this workbook that's actually, I think, going to be very beneficial to you as far as having a healthier baby and a healthier pregnancy, because that's our goal, to make sure
Okay.
baby's going to grow up healthy and that you're going to have a wonderful pregnancy as well. This will be your workbook to take home with you.
Okay.
And it discusses a little bit about some of the risky situations like what you're dealing with now, and also some of the effects that can happen with baby with continued drinking during the
Okay.
pregnancy. Okay. And like I said, this will be your book to take home with you, so feel free to mark in it at any time if you need to. Grab a pen. Are you aware of some of the effects that alcohol have on baby during the pregnancy?
I'm not 100% for sure. I know I shouldn't drink, but I don't know exactly why I cannot drink alcohol.
Well, let me go over a few things with you. Basically, if you drink, your unborn baby drinks along with you. Drinking while you're pregnant can harm your unborn baby in a couple different ways. These are some of the major problems that can occur with baby. Small size at birth, deformed features, heart problems even, and mental retardations.
I did drink alcohol because I didn't know.
Right.
So my baby's going to be having all these problems?
Not necessarily. That's something you're going to want to talk to your doctor about at your next visit, and they'll be able to do a little bit more screening and discuss some of those things with you.
Now you make me scared, actually.
Well, I want to embed those thoughts for sure to make sure that maybe we don't continue the drinking, because that's the primary concern right now, to make sure that you stop drinking so we don't have more of a problem with the baby down the road.
Okay. I want to stop, but you know, it's kind of hard to do at my job.
It is.
Yeah.
I can imagine that it is, because your customers are your priority. But we need
Right.
to make sure that you're a priority, and this tiny little baby that you're growing is a priority too. Okay. Some of the other minor problems that can occur with baby, we're finding out now, eating and sleeping issues, hyperactivity, attention disorders, language development. So even just from small amounts with continued drinking throughout the pregnancy, you're going to have to be aware of these things as well. So keep that in the back of your mind. If a customer's wanting to buy you a drink, these things might pop out as
My
something to
boss,
stop.
she said that I can drink juice when the customers offer me alcohol.
That's a great
but
idea.
that's from her, not from customer, So
What do you think the customers would do? Would they notice that you have juice in your glass, or do you think they would just be happy that you're bringing them a drink?
Try to sneak as possible. Sometimes if they are drunk, and then I try to explain to them that I'm pregnant, but sometimes they kept asking.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good base to start with.
Okay.
Maybe just start with a little bit of juice in the glass, or maybe some Sprite, or something maybe to try instead.
Okay.
It's better than the alcohol. Okay.
Right.
That's a good
I'm
starting.
gonna try best, but yeah.
Okay. That's a great starting point. So this page just talks about having a healthier baby. If you quit drinking, like what we talked, that's the best start.
Okay.
There's no safe level of drinking as far as,
Yeah.
so we always say not a single drop with pregnancy.
Okay.
some of the risky situations, this page, obviously we've identified the riskiest situation is just being at work.
Right.
So you don't feel like you need to drink outside of work?
No.
It's only on
I'm
the
not
job.
an alcoholic, so I don't feel like I have to drink. It's just because of my work. You know? Yeah.
All right. So this page may not apply quite as much to you, but maybe the next page about coping with these risky situations, this might be a better start for you. Things like grabbing a snack or calling a friend, this would apply more if you're at a party or outside of the job.
Right.
So I think the biggest one is going to be drinking the water,
Yeah.
soda, juice, things like we already talked about. And if you ever do come up with some other ways to cope with it, you can always jot them down in the book too, and refer to this this book as well.
Okay.
Okay. What is a standard drink? So do the customers usually buy shots? Do they buy drinks? A little bit of everything. Okay. So a standard drink for a shot is just a 1.5 ounce of hard liquor.
Oh, they are more than 1.5 ounces for shots.
I'm sure they're usually much bigger than that. So we have to keep that in mind too.
Okay.
That, the actual serving sizes of what is a drink.
I'm worried about that. I was drink alcohol before I found pregnant, right now. So
you were worried about the serving sizes too?
Yeah, I mean, I found out a couple weeks ago. So I would drink up until
then. Yeah. It's definitely something you're wanting to address with your doctor.
Okay.
Do you have an appointment with your doctor coming up
Yes,
soon?
yes, next week.
And that will probably reassure that everything's going to be okay. But like I said, the most important thing is stopping now, if you think you can, and moving forward with no alcohol use. This page, again, is more about serving sizes with alcohol that you can read when you get home. As far as setting a goal, deciding on drinking for yourself for the next month, do you think maybe we can stop drinking or more of cutting down on drinking?
Personally, I want to stop drink.
Good.
But like I say, I can't guarantee,
Okay. Well, I think the best thing is to maybe touch base in another month. Do you feel comfortable coming back and having just a small conversation, you and I, again, about cutting back or how alcohol's going?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'll plan on doing, is bringing you back in a month then and rediscussing and hopefully building your confidence that you can stop drinking. Maybe keep a little ultrasound picture of your baby in your pocket when you're at work.
Maybe that's a good idea.
That might help. So if you do go in the back or if you're mixing a drink for a customer, pull out that picture and just remind yourself.
That's a good idea.
So that might help a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe I can show my customer.
And that might embed that thought in their mind as well.
Right. Here, this little thing is in here, and do you want me to drink this? Okay, maybe I can do that. I don't know.
And this is the reason why. This sweet little face. Okay. So this is more of our drinking goals. Hopefully there's 0 drinks over the next week. And 0 drinks over day to day.
I try my best.
And by the week, the 0. I think that's good. I know you can do it. We all have the confidence in you too. Now you have to have that confidence in yourself as well.
Yeah.
Okay. If you can't stop drinking, there's some other information on this page too to discuss when you get home on other ways to help.
Okay.
So in a summary for our visit today, we are going to do our best to not drink when the customers are buying you, or at least try the glasses of juice or soda instead, and bringing you back in a month to touch base again to see how we're doing.
And I'm going to make sure take it ultrasound picture with me every single day.
Good. Keep it in your pocket or tape it to the bar even, and just remind yourself. So because priority is yourself and this baby too that you're growing.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm glad that we've made a good goal and that we're going to continue on a healthy pregnancy.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
This scenario also lasted about 10 minutes like the previous scene, but had a very different vibe and outcome. Did you notice the strong rapport that was developed between the participant and the health professional? What stage of change did you identify? Would you say this participant is in the preparation stage and starting to move into the action stage as she spoke to the health professional? The participant recognized the benefits of quitting her alcohol consumption and was able to acknowledge how her personal situation put her at risk to struggle with her goal. The health professional gave her reassurance and recommended to let her doctor know about her alcohol use. The health professional helped the mother find motivation by suggesting that she keep an ultrasound picture of her baby in her pocket to remind her of why she's not going to drink. She was motivated to make a plan to avoid the risks that her job situation put her in. She left with a goal to stop drinking and was reasonably confident she could achieve it. The scenarios you just watched illustrate typical brief intervention interactions. We highlighted many best practices that you should strive to implement. Building rapport and communicating with a diverse audience is a core competency of WIC and is applied in the brief intervention process just like other counseling scenarios. As you are talking with a participant, you can get a feel for what stage of change they are in so that you can guide them through the process. Depending on whether the participant has drank alcohol within the last 30 days or has identified risky behaviors on the screening tool will determine if you assign risk code 47 and if they are to come back within 4 to 6 weeks for follow-up, or if follow-up can be accomplished at the 3-month mid-certification. For those coming back in 3 months, you can combine a quick touch-base conversation with the mid-certification encounter you would normally assign a pregnant participant. Remaining calm and non-judgmental is the key to a successful brief intervention. Although all brief interventions contain common elements, there are endless ways that the conversation can weave throughout the workbook. Some pages require detailed discussion, others can be simply mentioned. It all depends on the participant's needs. Although each scenario you watched was different, the end result was still the same. The information was offered and a goal was set. Typically, brief interventions are the last part of the visit with a participant, although you can choose to review this information at any point during your counseling session. Ask permission to review the workbook with the participant. If she refuses to have the conversation, still offer her a workbook to take home and review on her own. Document the refusal on the nutrition care plan and still schedule her for the appropriate follow-up time frame. You can attempt to review the workbook at her follow-up appointment if she is receptive at that point. To wrap up the brief intervention, work with the participant to set a goal related to her alcohol use, to either continue to abstain, quit drinking if she's been consuming, or cut down if she does not believe she can abstain. Offer referrals to treatment as indicated, especially to those who do not believe they can quit. Ask the participant if she has the support she needs to achieve her goal, family and friends who will help her be successful. Lastly, reinforce throughout the brief intervention that there is no known safe amount of alcohol to drink and no known safe time to drink during pregnancy. Remember, only a small percentage of your participants typically screen positive for a brief intervention. For those who do receive a brief intervention, her alcohol use related goal should be the goal written on the Welcome to WIC. However, sometimes there is another goal she set during the rest of your counseling session related to healthy eating habits or smoking just as important to her, which can be recorded on the Welcome to WIC instead and will be recorded on the nutrition care plan as well. It is fine to have 2 goals on the nutrition care plan if needed. Remember, her brief intervention goal will be recorded in the workbook that she is taking home. Screening for alcohol use is recommended annually in primary care settings. The use of ASBI can decrease alcohol use and improve pregnancy outcomes in the WIC population. Motivational interviewing is the core component of a brief intervention. Next, Module 4 will provide a summary and a wrap-up and help you put all of these pieces into action in your WIC office.